Ma'am, I need to see your documentation. Immigration enforcement.
Captain, my badge is in my purse. My daughter's about to walk across that stage.
I don't care about your daughter. Papers, now.
I was born in Baton Rouge. I've been a cop for 25 years. And you're doing this here?
Everyone's got a story. Step over here. We're going to verify your status.
Captain Denise Marie Laurent had waited 18 years for this moment. 18 years of parent-teacher conferences and homework battles, 18 years of basketball games and dance recitals, 18 years of watching her baby girl grow into a young woman who was about to walk across a stage and receive her diploma from Louisiana State University. She had arrived at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center in Baton Rouge 2 hours early, wearing the purple dress she had bought specifically for this occasion. Her daughter Michaela's favorite color, the color of LSU, the color of everything they had dreamed about since Michaela was a little girl saying she wanted to be a tiger just like her mama. She had saved a seat in the third row, close enough to see Michaela's face when they called her name. Close enough to take the perfect photograph. Close enough to let her daughter see her crying tears of pride. At 9:47 a.m., 15 minutes before the ceremony was scheduled to begin, a man in a tactical vest approached her seat. Before we continue, drop your city in the comments. Where are you watching from? And if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Stories like this don't get told unless we tell them, and your support helps us bring more people to the truth. Captain Denise Marie Laurent was 47 years old. She had served with the Baton Rouge Police Department for 25 years, starting as a patrol officer at 22, fresh out of Southern University, with a degree in criminal justice and a determination to make a difference in the city she loved. She had worked her way up through every rank: patrol officer, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, and finally captain, commanding the department's major crimes unit for the past 4 years. She had solved 143 homicide cases in her career. She had been shot once, a through and through in her left shoulder during a drug raid in 2011. And she had returned to duty 8 weeks later because that's who she was. She was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana in 1977 at Woman's Hospital on Blue Bonnet Boulevard. The same hospital where her mother had worked as a labor and delivery nurse for 32 years. Her father, Sergeant Major Raymond Laurent, had served 28 years in the United States Army, including 2 tours in Vietnam with the 82nd Airborne and 1 tour in Desert Storm as a logistics coordinator at age 48, one of the oldest enlisted men deployed to the Gulf. Her grandparents on both sides had been born in Louisiana: New Orleans, Lafayette, Opelousas, Shreveport. Their roots in the bayou, stretching back 7 generations to the free people of color who had built the Treme neighborhood before the Civil War. Raymond Laurent had passed in 2019 at the age of 76, 6 months after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He had lived long enough to see his granddaughter accepted to LSU, but not long enough to see her graduate. Denise still kept his folded flag in a shadow box on her mantel, next to his bronze star and his photograph in dress uniform. Her mother, Evangeline Laurent, was 74 years old, retired from nursing, and sitting 3 seats away from Denise in the arena, dabbing her eyes with a tissue, already crying before the ceremony had even started. Denise had married young, 22, right after the police academy, to her high school sweetheart, Marcus Williams. They had divorced 8 years later, but they had done it right, staying friends for Michaela's sake, sharing custody without lawyers, showing up together for every game, every recital, every milestone. Marcus was somewhere in the arena right now, probably in the back with his new wife, ready to cheer just as loud as Denise when their daughter's name was called. Michaela Renee Williams was 22 years old, about to graduate summa cum laude with a degree in biochemistry. She had been accepted to Tulane Medical School. She wanted to be a pediatric oncologist, a doctor who fights for children with cancer, because when she was 8 years old, her best friend had died of leukemia. And she had decided then that she would spend her life making sure fewer parents had to bury their children. That was who Denise had raised. That was who was about to walk across that stage. And that was what ICE agent Gregory Harmon decided to interrupt. Agent Gregory Harmon was 42 years old. He had been with Immigration and Customs Enforcement for 12 years, working out of the New Orleans field office. He had a reputation for being relentless, for finding targets in unexpected places, for treating every interaction as a potential arrest. His partner, Agent Lisa Thornton, was 36 and had been with ICE for 8 years. She was more cautious than Harmon, but she had never stopped him before. She stood near the arena entrance, watching, her body camera recording from a distance. They had been assigned to monitor a graduation ceremony at a different venue, a community college 15 miles away where they had intelligence about an undocumented student. But that ceremony didn't start until noon, and Harmon had decided to stop at the LSU graduation first, walking through the crowd, scanning faces, looking for anyone who didn't belong. What he saw when he looked at Denise Laurent was a black woman in an expensive dress, sitting alone, checking her phone. What he decided, in that moment, based on nothing but assumption, was that this woman warranted investigation. He walked down the aisle toward her seat, his ICE vest visible over his dress shirt, his badge hanging from a lanyard around his neck. "Ma'am, I need to see your documentation. Immigration enforcement." Denise looked up from her phone. She had been texting Michaela, "I'm here, baby. 3rd row, I can't wait to see you walk." And for a moment, she didn't understand what was happening. Then she saw the vest. ICE. The letters that had torn apart so many families in her city, so many people she had grown up with, so many communities she had sworn to protect. And now they were standing over her at her daughter's graduation. "I'm a police captain. My badge is in my purse. My daughter is about to walk across that stage." Agent Harmon's body camera captured his response. A dismissive wave of his hand, an impatient shift of his weight. "I don't care about your daughter. Papers. Now." Should federal agents be allowed to demand papers from parents at graduation ceremonies? Comment below, because what happened next would expose how one agent's prejudice could destroy the most important day of a family's life. Denise felt her pulse quicken, but her voice stayed steady. 25 years of training. 25 years of facing down criminals who would have killed her without hesitation. She could handle one federal agent with an attitude. "I was born in Baton Rouge. I've been a cop for 25 years, and you're doing this here? At a graduation?" "Everyone's got a story. Step over here. We're going to verify your status." "I will not step anywhere. I am a captain with the Baton Rouge Police Department, badge number 1847. I was born at Woman's Hospital on Blue Bonnet Boulevard. My mother is sitting 3 seats away from me. My daughter is about to receive her diploma, and you have no legal basis to demand my identification." Her voice had risen, just enough to draw attention. The family next to her was looking over, a white couple in their 60s, the grandmother clutching a small LSU banner. Behind her, other parents were turning their heads. "Ma'am, you can either cooperate or I can detain you and we can sort this out downtown. Your choice." "Downtown? You want to drag a police captain out of her daughter's graduation? Do you understand what you're doing right now? Do you understand who you're talking to?" She reached slowly into her purse, her movements deliberate and visible. "I am going to remove my badge and my police ID. I am also going to remove my phone and call my chief, who will explain to your supervisors why this is the worst mistake of your career." She pulled out her badge case and flipped it open. The gold shield caught the arena lights. Baton Rouge Police Department Captain. Harmon stared at the badge. His body camera captured the moment, the flicker of doubt, the tightening of his jaw. Badges can be faked. Then call the Baton Rouge Police Department. The number is public. Ask for Chief Williams. Yes, my ex-husband's cousin, which is awkward, but he'll confirm my identity. Or you can wait 60 seconds and watch my daughter walk across that stage, and then you'll see her run into my arms, and you'll understand exactly what you almost destroyed. A commotion at the back of the arena drew their attention. Graduates were lining up. The ceremony was about to begin. And Michaela was looking for her mother. Denise could see her, cap and gown, honor cords draped around her neck, summa cum laude tassel, scanning the crowd, searching for the purple dress, searching for her mama. Their eyes met. Michaela's face shifted from anticipation to confusion to fear as she saw the man in the tactical vest standing over her mother. She started pushing through the line, ignoring the protest of the students around her. "Mama! Mama, what's happening?" "Stay where you are, baby. I'm fine. Go back to your place in line. This is almost over." But Michaela was already halfway down the aisle, her graduation gown flowing behind her, her face twisted with a fury that Denise recognized immediately, because it was the same fury she felt. "What are you doing? That's my mother. Why are you bothering her?" Agent Harmon turned toward the young woman in the cap and gown. "Miss, this doesn't concern you. Please return to your place." "It doesn't concern me? That's my mother. She's a police captain. She's been a cop since before I was born. What possible reason do you have to be harassing her at my graduation?" Other graduates were watching now. Parents were standing up. Phones were coming out. The arena was supposed to be filled with celebration, with pride, with joy, and instead, it was witnessing something else entirely. Thornton, the partner, approached from the back of the arena. She spoke quietly to Harmon, but her body camera picked up every word. "Greg, we should verify. If she's really a police captain, she's not. Look at her, probably using someone else's badge." The words were captured, recorded, preserved forever. Michaela heard them. Her face went still. The terrifying stillness of a young black woman who has just learned something about the world she thought she understood. Probably using someone else's badge. She repeated the words slowly. "You looked at my mother, a 25-year veteran, a captain who has solved more murders than you'll see in your entire career, and you decided she must be a criminal. Because of what? The color of her skin. Miss, I'm going to need you to calm down." "I am calm, and I am furious, and I am standing at my own graduation watching a federal agent profile my mother, and I want you to explain to me, right now in front of all these people, what specific evidence made you approach her? What did she do? What law did she break?" Harmon had no answer. The arena had gone quiet. 2,000 people were watching. 2,000 phones were recording. The graduation ceremony had ground to a halt. A man in academic regalia was walking quickly down the aisle. Dr. Marcus Chen, Dean of the College of Science, his face tight with controlled anger. "What is happening here? This ceremony is about to begin. Who are you and why are you disrupting my graduates?" "Federal business, sir. Immigration enforcement." "Immigration enforcement? At a university graduation?" Dr. Chen looked at Denise, then at Michaela, then back at Harmon. "This woman is Captain Denise Laurent of the Baton Rouge Police Department. She has attended 3 events at this university this year alone, including the honors banquet where I personally shook her hand. I suggest you leave immediately before I have campus security escort you out." Harmon's face flushed red. "Sir, I have authority to—" "You have authority to embarrass yourself and your agency. That's what you have. Now step away from this family and let us begin this ceremony, or I will call the president of this university, the mayor of this city, and every news outlet in Louisiana. Your choice." The standoff lasted 8 more seconds. Then Harmon turned and walked toward the exit, Thornton following behind him, their body cameras recording their retreat past 2,000 staring faces. Michaela turned to her mother. Her eyes were wet. "Mama, not now, baby. This is your day. Go back to your place in line. Go graduate. We'll talk about this later." But Denise took her daughter's face in her hands, the same face she had held when Michaela was a newborn, the same face she had watched grow for 22 years. "I am so proud of you. Nothing that man did can take that away. Now go walk across that stage and show them who you are." Michaela hugged her mother, a fierce, trembling hug, and then walked back to her place in line, wiping her eyes, straightening her cap. 15 minutes later, when they called her name, "Michaela Renee Williams, summa cum laude." Denise was on her feet before the announcer finished speaking. She was cheering, crying, holding up her phone to record the moment she had waited 18 years to see. And when Michaela walked off the stage and found her mother in the crowd, they held each other for a long time, not speaking, not needing to speak. Some moments are sacred. Some moments should never be interrupted, and some people would pay for trying. Do you think federal agents should face consequences for disrupting family milestones with racial profiling? Let me know in the comments, because the lawsuit that followed would change everything. The lawsuit was filed 6 weeks later in federal court. Denise Marie Laurent and Michaela Renee Williams versus the United States Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Agent Gregory Harmon, and Agent Lisa Thornton. Captain Laurent retained civil rights attorney Simone Jackson of Jackson and Associates in New Orleans, a firm that had won over $110 million in civil rights settlements over the past 18 years. Jackson had argued before the Fifth Circuit 8 times and won 7. Her specialty was cases involving violations of civil rights in public spaces. "This case is about the moments that matter," Jackson said at the press conference. Captain Laurent has dedicated 25 years to protecting her community. She has put her life on the line, taken a bullet, solved 143 murders, and on the day her daughter graduated from college, a day she had worked toward for 18 years, an ICE agent decided she looked suspicious, not because of anything she did, because of what she looked like. That's not law enforcement, that's racial profiling, and it happened at a graduation ceremony in front of 2,000 witnesses. The evidence was devastating. Agent Harmon's body camera footage showed the entire confrontation, his approach, his demands, his dismissal of Captain Laurent's credentials, and the devastating moment when he said she was probably using someone else's badge. Thornton's body camera captured the crowd's reaction and Michaela's intervention. Cell phone videos from dozens of attendees showed what happened from every angle. Dean Chen's testimony confirmed that he had recognized Captain Laurent immediately. Harmon's personnel file was subpoenaed. It revealed a pattern. In 12 years with ICE, Harmon had initiated 234 stops or detentions. Of those, 198 involved Black or Hispanic individuals, 85%. Of those 198, only 31 resulted in confirmed immigration violations. The other 167 were American citizens or legal residents who were stopped, questioned, and humiliated based on nothing but Harmon's assumptions. The file also revealed 6 prior complaints against Harmon. One involved a Hispanic professor at Tulane who had been stopped outside her own classroom. Another involved a Black attorney who had been detained while entering the federal courthouse. All 6 complaints had been dismissed as unsubstantiated. ICE offered a settlement 6 months before trial, $3.5 million and a confidentiality agreement. Jackson sent back a one-word response: no. They offered $7 million. No, they offered $10 million. My clients aren't interested in silence, Jackson told their attorneys. They're interested in making sure no other family has their most important day destroyed by an agent who can't see past the color of someone's skin. See you in court. The trial lasted 4 weeks in federal court in New Orleans, before a diverse jury and in a city that understood the weight of what was being decided. Captain Laurent testified for 3 days. She walked the jury through her 25-year career, the cases she had solved, the bullets she had taken, the communities she had served. She described her father's military service, her mother's nursing career, her roots in Louisiana going back 7 generations. She described the morning of the graduation, the purple dress, the third-row seat, the text messages with Michaela, and then the agent standing over her, demanding papers, treating her like a criminal while her daughter was about to receive her diploma. On cross-examination, the defense attorney suggested that Captain Laurent had been uncooperative, that her refusal to immediately produce documentation had prolonged the encounter. Captain Laurent's response was quoted in newspapers across the country. I showed him my badge. I offered to call my chief. I did everything a cooperative citizen should do, everything and more. And Agent Harmon's response was to suggest I was using someone else's badge, that I must have stolen it, because in his mind, a Black woman in an expensive dress cannot possibly be a police captain. She paused. I have been a cop for 25 years. I have put my life on the line countless times. I took a bullet in 2011 and was back on duty in 8 weeks because I believe in service. And Agent Harmon looked at me and saw a suspect at my daughter's graduation while my mother was sitting 3 seats away. What would have satisfied him? What proof would have been enough? The answer is nothing, because his suspicion wasn't based on evidence, it was based on assumption, and assumption is the enemy of justice. Michaela Williams testified for one day. She had just completed her first year of medical school at Tulane, driven to become a doctor by the same determination that had gotten her through that graduation ceremony. I had dreamed about that day my whole life, walking across the stage, seeing my mother in the crowd, showing her that everything she sacrificed for me was worth it. And instead, I watched a federal agent harass her, call her a liar, suggest she had stolen her own badge. She wiped her eyes. My mother is my hero. She has been since I was a little girl. She taught me that you fight for what's right, even when it's hard, even when people doubt you, even when they look at you and see something you're not. She taught me that, and I watched someone try to take her dignity in front of 2,000 people on the most important day of my life. She looked at the jury. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to fight for children with cancer, kids who can't fight for themselves. But I learned something that day about what my mother faces, what black women in uniform face every day. The badge doesn't protect you from assumption. Nothing does, except fighting back. Dr. Marcus Chen testified about what he witnessed and why he intervened. I have been the dean of the College of Science for 9 years. I have overseen hundreds of graduation ceremonies. I have never seen anything like what happened that day. A federal agent harassing a parent in the middle of our arena, moments before we were supposed to celebrate our graduates' achievements. It was disgraceful, it was disruptive, and it was obviously, transparently motivated by racial bias. Agent Harmon testified in his own defense. Under cross-examination, Jackson asked him one question that would define the trial. Agent Harmon, you testified that Captain Laurent fit a description. Can you tell the jury what that description was? Harmon was silent for 11 seconds. A female, alone, looking at her phone. A black woman looking at her phone at her daughter's graduation. That was your description of a suspected undocumented immigrant? Silence. And when Captain Laurent showed you her police badge, you said, badges can be faked. Had you ever, in your 12 years with ICE, actually encountered a fake police captain's badge? No. So your assumption that a black woman couldn't possibly be a police captain was based on what exactly? Harmon had no answer. No further questions. The jury deliberated for 7 hours and 20 minutes. When they returned, the courtroom fell silent. Liable on all counts. The damages phase took another 4 days. The verdict, $14.6 million total, $5.4 million in compensatory damages to Captain Laurent for emotional distress, humiliation, and the destruction of a day she had waited 18 years to experience. $3.2 million in compensatory damages to Michaela Williams for the trauma of watching her mother be profiled at her own graduation and the lasting psychological impact. $4.5 million in punitive damages against ICE for their pattern of tolerating agents like Harmon, for dismissing complaints, for allowing racial profiling to flourish unchecked. $1.5 million in additional damages for the particularly egregious nature of disrupting a family milestone. Agent Gregory Harmon was placed on immediate administrative leave following the verdict. 5 months later, after internal review proceedings concluded, he was officially terminated. His federal law enforcement credentials were permanently revoked. Agent Lisa Thornton received a 7-month suspension without pay and was permanently reassigned to administrative duties. The regional ICE director who had dismissed the 6 prior complaints against Harmon resigned 8 weeks after the verdict. ICE was required to implement sweeping reforms, new training on civil rights and public events, strict protocols prohibiting approaches at graduation ceremonies, weddings, and funerals without specific intelligence, enhanced review of all complaints, and quarterly reporting to a federal monitor. Captain Denise Laurent returned to duty 1 week after the trial. She had cases to solve, a community to protect. Michaela Williams continued her studies at Tulane Medical School. She graduated 4 years later, 5th in her class, and began her residency in pediatric oncology at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis. Captain Laurent was there for that graduation too. This time no one interrupted. She donated $4 million of her settlement to establish the Laurent Family Justice Fund, providing legal representation for families who face civil rights violations at milestone events. In its first year, the fund represented 38 families across Louisiana and Mississippi. Michaela donated $500,000 to establish a scholarship at LSU for first-generation college students from Baton Rouge, because some families shouldn't have to fight just to celebrate their achievements. The body camera footage from that May morning is now shown in federal law enforcement training programs across the country. It shows what happens when agents forget their training, forget their humanity, forget that the people they encounter are in the middle of moments that matter. And it shows Captain Denise Laurent, sitting in the third row of the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, wearing her daughter's favorite color, refusing to let anyone take that moment away from her. If you believe that a graduation ceremony should be sacred ground, that 25 years of service should mean something, that a mother should be able to watch her daughter walk across a stage without being treated like a criminal, hit that subscribe button. Share this video, tell this story. Because in a country where a police captain can be profiled at her daughter's graduation, in a purple dress 3 rows back, waiting to cry tears of pride, none of us are safe from assumption. The badge didn't protect Captain Laurent that day. Her daughter did. And the courage to stand her ground, not with anger, not with violence, but with the fierce, unshakable love of a mother who would not let anyone ruin her baby's day. That's what they couldn't take from her. That's what they'll never take from any of us. Not if we keep watching, not if we keep recording, not if we keep telling these stories until they finally stop happening. Captain Laurent still keeps her father's folded flag on her mantle. Next to it now sits a photograph from that graduation day. Mother and daughter, arms around each other, both crying, both smiling, both unbroken. Some moments are worth fighting for. Some days are too important to surrender. And some love, the love between a mother and her child, is stronger than any assumption, any badge, any agent who can't see past the color of someone's skin. Michaela calls her mother every Sunday evening. They talk about her patients, her cases, their family, their future. And sometimes, when the conversation turns quiet, Michaela says the words she said that day in the arena. The words that still make Denise cry every time she hears them. "I'm so proud of you, Mama. Nothing they did could take that away."